Good afternoon, everybody. If you could please just take your seats and a little bit of hush. It's always like getting cats under control, isn't it, really? You know? There's times like this where I feel like I should be a school teacher and you do that clap thing that they do at class, you know? And you guys all do it back. Kia ora, everybody. Welcome all of you to the first Lexus of North Shore charity long lunch. Let's emphasise the long bit. Produced by the North Harbour Club for 2023. Wonderful to see you all here. It's amazing when you come along to something like this and you bump into people who you know. My accountant's here, so I have to be very careful about what I do. And I think the lawyer might be here as well too. So, and the mechanic's here, so if my car breaks down, I'm absolutely fine. So it's good to see so many people from the wonderful North Shore, the North Harbour area here today. For those of you who were here in November, we hope you enjoyed learning from Christopher Luxon, the leader of the opposition, about his perspective on the state of the nation. Of course, the climate has changed somewhat in recent months with Cyclone Gabriel and the Auckland flooding. And we do hope that you and your extended families and business networks are recovering okay and that there wasn't too much disruption. Today we have two wonderful speakers, Gilbert Enoka, who spent about 30 years as a mental skills coach with the All Blacks, the Crusaders, yes we can blame him for helping set up that dynasty, the Black Caps and the Silver Ferns. And a real local, Ian Jones, who played 79 tests and 26 games for the All Blacks and was of course part of the magnificent 1996 team that won a series for the first time in South Africa. Thanks Gilbert and Ian for giving up your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you later on in the program. Before we do get into the main event, I'd like to say a very special thank you to our wonderful lunch sponsor Lexus of North Shore for providing the new RX display vehicles that you wandered past when you came in. If you'd like to book a test drive for the all-new 2023 Lexus RX, you can scan a QR code on your table. The Lexus cards are on your table. Of course, you could visit Lexus of North Shore's website, or, but old-fashioned, you could pop into the dealership where you'll get a cup of coffee and a drive. Ash or Gavin from Lexus are here today if you want to have a chat with them about any more new information on the new model. And let's have a quick look at a video of the new Lexus.
Being an icon is a restless pursuit, because you're only original until others catch up. Introducing the all-new, all-original RX hybrid range. Our most premium driving experience to date. An evolution fit for an icon.
There you go, the new Lexus. It says here in my notes that I should introduce myself, which is probably a good thing to do. My name is Jim Kays. Normally at this time you talk about what you've done in your career, and I had all that written down. And this morning I thought actually the more important thing that I've done is I've raised two daughters. One of them is in her last year at Westlake Girls High School, and the other's just graduated as a paramedic. And if you've had a kid that has graduated from anything, you go along to the graduation ceremony, it is without question the proudest day of my life. So she's a paramedic, and she studied paramedicine during lockdown. I can tell you it is very dangerous being in the same house as a paramedic student. She spent a lot of the time wanting to stick needles in me, take my blood pressure, and she thinks I should be hooked up to an ECG to make sure I'm not having a heart attack. I guess the only consolation is that she didn't study proctology. I have spent most of my working life as a journalist. I covered the All Blacks, including Ian Jones, for about 25 years, 6 World Cups, and I'm pretty chuffed to say that I will be in France later in the year with All Blacks tours and for Sky. I was last on the telly with the Paul Henry show, And I can tell you, because I'm asked this often, Paul is exactly the same off camera as he is on camera. There's no difference, no filter. My main job now is I manage the on-air talent at Sky. So everybody that you see or hear on our live sport, I'm responsible for, or in some cases, I'm blamed for it. If you are a guest today, thank you so much for coming. We hope you enjoy yourselves. The North Harbour Club was established 28 years ago, and our values are all about excellence. By attending events and activities and via our auctions, membership, sponsorship, and guests alike, we raise money to grant funds to the youth of our region. Once you join as a member, there's a lot of very good events to attend. The Business Excellence Networking Breakfast at Regatta Bar and Eatery in Takapuna, the next Leaders events, long charity lunches such as today, and of course our flagship event, the Ames Awards Gala Dinner, plus a lot of other fundraising events. All events and gatherings are a great opportunity for people to network with prominent North Harbour residents and business people. I know that a lot of you know a lot of people in this room, and that's what it's all about. If you're curious and you'd like to become a member, click on the QR code, again, on your table. You can visit our membership raffle table, or you can find a member, a trustee, or one of the North Harbour staff, Erin, Jodie and Christine. Quick housekeeping. Toilets are located outside in the lobby. The venue is no smoking. If you do need to smoke, you will have to leave the building. Please don't use the doors at the back of the room. In the event of an emergency, it's always good to follow someone very calm, or just follow me, because I will be first. Today we have some excellent auction items and a silent auction as well. Some of the auction items up for grabs, and they're pretty things that money can't really buy. They're experiences, including the Lexus of North Shore golf experience, or how about a takeaway of a Zuru prize pack with a new Lexus toy car. All the prizes are featured in the programs on your tables. We will promote them on the screen throughout the lunch. Also to be raffled, blokes, you need to listen very carefully to this. It's a Karen Walker bag donated by Lexus of North Shore. Now, fellas, you're at a boozy lunch, you need to take something home. Just remember that. Wise words from someone who's been married for a very long time. Take the bag home. Spend a lot of money on it. Very good. Ladies, you're here, just buy it. We're very used to that, just buy it. There's also a $500 Milford restaurant voucher. If you haven't got your tickets already, the Trust Board members will be circulating. We take everything, cash and EFTPOS, so you can't escape. Please remember, one of the main reasons we are here today at the Lexus of North Shore Charity Lunch is to raise money from auctions and raffles that through our charity will reward young people 13 to 25 of the North Harbour region for our annual Ames Awards program. It's a great cause. Nominations open in September. Tickets are $1 for 10, 5 for 20, 15, one for $10, 5 for $20, get it around the right way, 15 for $50. Please be generous for the sake of our young people who are striving on their pathway to excellence. You can also donate cash. We'll take it off you. Anytime, just by scanning the QR code that is bookmarked on your table or your program. Alrighty, let's kick things off. Please welcome the North Harbour Club President, Mike Atkinson, to officially open today's event.
Tēnā koutou, nai mai, haere mai, and welcome along to this lunch, the first of this year, the Lexus long lunch for the North Harbour Club. And it's great to have everyone in the room after a summer that's been a little bit unusual, perhaps quite forgettable, but it's great to see everyone along today and to have a bit of a sunny day outside. Also, I'd just like to thank and extend our thanks to Lexus of North Shore again for their continued support for these events. Now, there's obviously this wonderful vehicle down the front which pairs nicely with the ones outside. And for grandparents in the room, this is a great gift for the grandkids, so a bit later on, don't be afraid to bid on those. And there's more, I suspect, that Mark could probably find for us and the team at Lexus, so I'm sure we could find a couple more if needed. But thank you to the team there. You guys do a great job, so it's a privilege partnering with you. As Jim indicated a bit earlier, there's a great range of speakers a bit later on today. But of course, as we are here to network, have some fun, have a lovely lunch, enjoy each other's company, but the opportunity to also raise some funds for the North Harbour Club Charitable Trust. And what we're doing to perhaps help extract that a little bit is a bit later on, we're lucky enough, we've got auctioneer extraordinaire Andrew North here from Harcourts, and he's going to help you dust off your wallets, deal with that T-Rex problem with the deep pockets and the short arms, and hopefully get you to share some cash into some of these fabulous auction items that we've got a bit later on. I'd also like to just take a moment to thank and acknowledge my fellow trustees. Running a club and an organisation like this takes a lot of support and effort, and those trustees give up a lot of time, their own time, at no cost, so thank you to you guys. And also to our new members that have joined in the room today. So a club is not a club without members. So it's great to have a bunch of new members here today, so welcome to all of you. And it would be wrong also not to acknowledge the hard work and effort of our amazing team behind the scenes. So we've got Erin as our General Manager, supported by Jodie and Christine. So you guys do a wonderful job, not only in these events, but also running the club generally. So thank you for your hard work and effort. If you are a guest here, though, and you are curious about the club a little bit, as Jim said, there's a QR code on the tables. Don't be afraid to scan those. Becoming a member's easy. There's plenty of trustees around. There's plenty of club members around that you can talk to. But what does it really mean to be a member? Well, you're part of a club that is unashamedly supporting excellence. We are here to reward high performance in our youth in the North Harbour region, and we're here to do that to help better the future for our region as well. So to develop tomorrow's leaders. And these excellent young people that are lucky enough to win these awards go on to do some amazing things. And it's a privilege to be part of their journey and to help support them. So I would encourage all of you that might be interested in joining up as a member to do so. Now, North Harbour isn't just Albany or Takapuna. It does extend all the way up around Maharangi and out west. So it's a big catchment area. It's based around the old North Harbour rugby region. So don't be fooled by it just being perhaps Albany, Takapuna. It's also probably the right time to welcome our dignitaries in the room. So we've already sort of had the opportunity. We've got our wonderful speakers, of course, Gilbert and Carmo. Carmo's been a long supporter of the club, so thank you for giving your time as well. Life members in the room, we're lucky enough. We've got Joan Finlayson over there, Peter Wall, Gary Monk, Aidan Bennett, Bob Jago and Ian Watson. So welcome to our wonderful life members. And of course our MC for today, Jim Kays, who's been luckily sponsored by Oceanbridge. So we really appreciate the sponsorship from Oceanbridge for supporting our MC today. Finally, we also have an alumni in the room, Maggie Squire, and she's going to perhaps give us a little bit of a rundown a bit later on. We'll hear a bit from her. But Maggie was a previous winner back in 2017 and represents New Zealand in diving. So looking forward to hearing from her. But our flagship event, which is coming up, is our AIMS Awards. And so our AIMS Awards is the chance where we do reward the youth. And AIMS stands for Arts, Innovation, Music, Education, and Sport, and Service to the Community. So there's a bit of a criteria there. Tickets are selling fast. So those of you that haven't yet had a chance to buy your tickets for the members, I'm talking to you now, buy them. All right, there's a small number left. The event's being held on Saturday, the 10th of June at the Bruce Mason Centre. So it'll be a wonderful evening. So I do challenge you, if you haven't yet bought your tickets, to do so. You can buy a single ticket if you've Nigel no mates, or otherwise my preference, a table of 10. Make it a party, have a good night. But tickets are there, they are selling fast. So over the last few months, our AIMS judges have been busy going through all the applicants that we have. So we've had about 200 people apply for these awards from last year. And there's a lot of work that goes into judging these talented people, and it's really hard to pick who the winners should be. So thank you to the judging team and the panel for all their hard work and their tireless support and effort in doing that. So the finalists and the supreme winner will get announced at the AIMS Gala dinner. It should be a great night. It's a Winter Wonderland theme. We're going to have a big orchestra there. We get a lovely three-course meal, great drinks. Our MC and host for the night is the lovely Hilary Barry, who's coming along as our Ice Queen. But to give you a bit of an idea of perhaps what the AIMS Awards is about, Hopefully we might have the opportunity now just to play the show reel from last year's AIMS Awards. It's only a couple of minutes, and it'll just give you an insight into what we are actually here to support.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AIMS Awards Gala Dinner. While tonight is all about announcing and celebrating our AIMS winners, the silent auction raised tonight $17,625. Congratulations, guys.
And tonight, the 2022 North Harbour Club AIMS Supreme winner is Zoe White.
Thank you so much.
Guys, you have been fantastic. Thank you, and good night.
So just a quick insight into what an amazing evening that is, and every time I watch that it still gives me goosebumps. And the thing that's really a little bit annoying for myself is you look at some of those winners, and not only are they really good at one thing, they're really good at two or three things. And so the talent that we're producing in this region is incredible. And it's heartening to think that the future generations are going to be in great hands because of some of the work that we're doing here with this club and the talented individuals that are out there. So on the AIMS Awards, we do this annually. So if you do know people that are actually really high performing, doing great things on the world stage or about to, then make sure they're aware of the AIMS Awards. So one of our challenges and one of the things that I would ask of you is to make sure that you share not only the North Harbour Club but the AIMS Awards with people you know, so we can get the message out there and so we can help more and more talented people achieve greatness that's in front of them. But as I said a little bit earlier, we're lucky enough also to get a previous winner along. So Maggie Squire is going to join us through the lunch, and she might give some further insights into the experience that she's had. Also, I'd just like to quickly thank our sponsors. So as an organisation, without the support of our wonderful sponsors, it's pretty hard to keep going, particularly in the current environment, and I'm sure we all appreciate that. It's tough times, but our sponsors have been with us for a very long time, some over 20 years. So we really do appreciate their continued support, and it's invaluable to us as an organisation. We also had a number of sponsors recently go up in their tiers, so they actually decided it's great, we're going to support the club even more, and they've lifted their tier. So congratulations to those sponsors that have gone up a notch. And we've also created a whole new brand of sponsors for our next membership group. So our next members are really targeting the next wave of leaders in our community, the under 40s. So for some of us, not quite appropriate, but for the next generation, there's a set of events and a way of engaging with, again, people that will hopefully be the future members and leaders for this amazing club. So finally, our next Lexus lunch will be on the 27th of October. we'll be joined by Michelle Dickinson and David Downs. So if you're interested to come back and experience this lunch again, that's when the next one is. But anyway, back today, we're lucky enough to have Gilbert here, and I've heard Gilbert speak before, an incredible individual, some great stories. And then, of course, we've probably all heard Kamo a few times being on this region, but it's great that the two of them are here to lend their support to this organisation. Thank you to everyone that's made this day what it is. So we've got some people behind the scenes, Epicuria Catering, Auckland Conventions, Benefits for the advertising and collateral that they prepare, Intersea for all the lovely protein, EuroVintage for the wines, and of course our lunch sponsors, once again Lexus of North Shore, thank you very much, and our MC sponsor Oceanbridge. So look, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to perhaps see some of you and meet you a bit more throughout the afternoon. But from me, that's it. I'll pass you back to Jim. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, it's back again, kindly donated by Lexus of North Shore. It is the game you've all been waiting for, the Balloon Challenge. We have 10 prizes up for grabs, just for sitting at the table. If you look under your bread plate, that's the little one, just for those that need to check. There should be a red sticker of the good kind. If you have a red sticker, please come to the front of the stage. Those with a red sticker, come to the front of the stage. Don't be shy. There should be 10 of you. Hey, don't get carried away. We're going to do it together. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We'll do it together on a count of 5. Pop them all together. Are you ready down the end there? All right. 5, 4, you pop it. Pop your balloon and then you'll see if there's a prize in there or not. Okay. I'm sure we all know how to pop balloons. We're all kids at one stage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Oh, who had the confetti? That's our winner. That's our winner. Wonderful. Steph is our winner. Steph has won a $300 voucher to Origin Restaurant. And the rest of you have won a $50 voucher as well, just for being good sports and coming up here. Thank you so much to Origin. I don't know about the mess that Steph has made up here, though. Once again, thank you, Lexus of North Shore. Thanks to our contestants for participating, and to all of you for supporting the Lexus of North Shore lunch day. Hang on a sec, guys. It's not quite lunchtime yet. I don't know if to clap my hands again. Just a little bit of shush. Our lunch will be served very shortly. Thanks to Intersea for sponsoring the Orange Ruffy, and thank you, Gary, and your team. Hey guys, we've got one more little thing to go before lunch. If we can just have a little bit of quiet, please. A little bit of shh. It does work. It does work. During lunch, the trustees, staff and club members will be visiting your table for raffle ticket purchases. Remember the silent auction. The raffle is for the stunning Karen Walker bag and of course the Milford restaurant voucher. Please remember to dig deep. All of the funds go to the AIMS Awards program. Today is a very special day for one of the alumni here and for someone who a lot of you will recognise. It's a very special day. Perhaps better known for being one of the three in Solo Mio. Today, Moses Mackay has his debut solo album. It's been released today. It's a pretty big deal. I think he deserves a round of applause. He's a good Rosmini man. He played age grade rugby for North Harbour and he played for Harbour Marist, who are just over there. And I reckon if we make enough noise, we can get him up on stage. He doesn't know, but let's get him up on stage. What do you reckon, Moses? Come on, a bit louder, a bit louder. We need to make a bit more noise. Come on, brother. I have a very special microphone for you. Oh, and he's brought the CD. Congratulations. It's not everyone that gets to have a CD, mate. Here, you hold that.
I'm going to hold... As I was walking up, they handed me my CD. That's a guy that looks like me.
You're a good-looking man, but I think you've been doing bicep curls before that photo was taken.
Yeah, that's me. You know what's funny? You know, a funny little... Nobody knows this, but that shirt... This whole thing was recorded in LA, and that shirt, I bought it at an op shop, and it was in the women's section. Now, I'd say, because in the men's section, it just wasn't the one. It just wasn't the one. So I probably shouldn't have said that. That was
We're going to give some of these away. I think we've got three.
Yes.
3 copies. We'll give them away.
So today is the release. Today is the first time.
It's pretty special, mate. How does that feel?
So I'm in a group called Solo Mio. We're 3, international opera singers. We've traveled the world. But way back in the day, when I was 15, 16, coming through, I went to Rosmini College, just down the road, played for Marist up here. I won an AIMS Award when I was about 17, 18. And it was at the beginning of and I never thought I'd be able to be supported by an organization. But these guys came out of the woodworks, and they were the first people to support a young buck like me that, I was just playing rugby. I never thought I'd be in the music industry, right? But it was, I'll give a lot of my time for the AIMS. I just thought I'd say that while I was sitting there listening to you talk. It was inspiring. But I released 4 albums under Solo Mio. We signed to Universal Music, toured the world, sung for Her Majesty the Queen, the late Queen, President of China, been around and done some really cool things. But I've never released a solo album before, let alone an original album. So all these songs are songs that I've written, and they're new compositions. Thank you.
If I look at the names of these songs, this is to woo the ladies. I'm just looking at this scent of a woman.
I wrote that about you, Jim.
We go back a ways. You're in Los Angeles a lot now.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I'm working on this project, can't really talk about it. Let's talk about it. So you are working on a project around a movie and an NFL player.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So this album's come out. This is it's a timepiece for me. I'm so proud about this album. But also right now, I'm writing the soundtrack for a big film. I don't know if I can be talking about this, but oh God. It's for a big film over in Los Angeles for an NFL player. He's a Hall of Famer. Everyone in the States knows him around the world. So yeah, it's a cool project that I'm working on. So.
Fantastic. What do you reckon? Do you think we can? Yeah. Get him to sing? I reckon we can. Need to make a bit of noise. A bit of noise.
So if you just go to mosesmackay.com, you can buy the album. It's out at the moment. All right.
This will take us to lunch. I'm going to grab a seat. You take us to lunch.
Are you going to leave me here? Okay.
You do not want me singing with you. This is no duet.
When I was I flew in 2019, I flew over to Morocco. Here's a little crazy segue, crazy story. I went over to Morocco, one-way ticket, took myself into the middle of the desert, and I was like, you know what, I just feel like I need to be here right now, other side of the world. Now, I was at a point in my life where I was like, man, I don't know if I want to be singing anymore. Crazy, I know, crazy. I was like, there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. I ended up in the desert, and I changed my name. I was no longer Moses anymore. I changed my name to Morris. And people say, Morris, where are you from, Morris? I say, I'm from New Zealand. They say, what do you do? I say, I'm a cleaner. Because whenever you say you're a singer, the next question is, well, sing a song. Yeah, it's like, what do you do? I'm a sprinter. Oh, can you just run and touch that pole? You know, and for a long time, I was Moses the singer. So I just wanted to be Morris the cleaner for a while. Until I ended up at this ancient village. We're talking like there's no running water, there's no electricity, and I'm there, and this little boy finds me, and we just start hanging out. He doesn't speak English, I don't speak Arabic, but we just start hanging. We're playing tag, doing the thing, and then he invites me over to his house. He takes me into this house, into this little sandstone hole in the wall, and man, I'm just a little boy from the North Shore. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And I'm sitting there, the whole family, they don't have a lot of money, but they start serving us jams, breads, they start giving us tea. It was the most humbling experience for Morris the cleaner. And so I'm sitting there, we're there for about 20 minutes, and then our tour guide says, all right guys, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here, our bus is waiting, it's getting dark. We need to get out of these places. So I said, okay. We started leaving, and I said, hold up, everybody stop. I said, I can't leave without giving you something. I said, in my culture in New Zealand, if you give me something, I'm gonna give you something back. And straight away, the translator was like, Moses, don't give them money. It's disrespectful. I said, don't worry, I'm not giving them money. But I will give them a song. And straight away, everyone in my tour company, a lot of Americans, they're like, oh, Morris is gonna sing a song. Morris gonna sing, he gonna sing something. And I said, guys, this is a song from my hometown, and it's a song that we all know, and we all brought up with. The song is called Po Kare Kare Ana. Now, at that moment in time, I hadn't sung in a long time, and I just remember closing my eyes and just letting the voice come out. And it was the most humbling experience for me as a performer, as a writer, to really break it down to the nuts and bolts of it. And I think I'm going to sing that song now. A song we all know. Po kare kare ana ngawai rotorua fiti atu koe marino anae heine oki maera kamatea i te aroha hine oki maera kamatea i te aroha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moses Mackay. Please enjoy your lunch. We'll be back very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue on with our afternoon. If we can just have a little bit of shush, please. Very soon we'll be hearing from Ian Jones and Gilbert Enoka. Just a little bit of shush if we can. I know it's hard to come up here after we've just had Moses up here, Morris the cleaner. I feel like I'm Charlie Chaplin the cook or something, you know. It's like having a block of cheese instead of caviar. But that was a fantastic performance from Moses. We do have some of his CDs to give away, so we'll be taking questions from the floor when we have Carmo and Bert up here having a bit of a chat. If you don't have a CD player, I'm sure they make a very good coffee cup coaster. Because who's got a CD player nowadays? But it is on Spotify. That's right, Moses, you're on Spotify? On Spotify, CDs, coffee cup coaster. Alrighty, I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. Thanks again to Epicure and Intersea for the delicious orange roughy from Intersea. Please welcome to the stage Maggie Squire to have a little bit of a chat about her journey to receive an Ames Award and she has some exciting news. You sit in the middle because you're more important. Don't be nervous. Okay. I know you're a little bit nervous. Don't be nervous. It's all right. Just forget that they're even there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So and also congratulations, Maggie was at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games last year. You were the youngest in the New Zealand team or the youngest in the diving team?
In the New Zealand team.
Youngest
and the
competitor
team.
in the New Zealand team. That deserves a round of applause, I reckon. How did you come to be a winner of an Ames Award?
Well, my teacher at school recommended that I would apply for one, and that was in 2017. And I ended up winning it, which was very exciting, and it was a huge confidence boost for me. So, yeah, I'm very appreciative of it.
Look, there's a lot of questions here about Ames Awards, but I actually want to ask you this one. How did you get into diving? Were you a swimmer who couldn't swim? You know, I mean, that's me. I'm a swimmer that can't swim. Ian Jones is a swimmer who swims. How did you go from, how do you get into diving?
Well, ever since I was little, I was a bit of a adventurous kid. I'd climb up lampposts, I'd be up trees, doing things I wasn't meant to be doing. I played soccer, ripper rugby, a whole bunch of sports, but I was primarily a swimmer. And one day when I was diving into the pool, my coach was like, "Oh, you're kind of good at that." So I was, and then my grandparents signed me up for a learn to dive class, and it just went from there.
And I've got to ask you this because most of us in the room will have done this, where you think you're going to perform a brilliant dive, and you actually come out with a very sore chest that's kind of red. You know, we call them belly flops. Do you guys still call them belly flops?
Yeah, we call them splats in general because you can land on your back, you can land in a tuck shape, you can hit your head, a bunch of things.
I think splat would undersell what I'd do if I did that at the moment. Have you done some of those? Have you sort of got it really wrong and you're halfway through going, this is going to hurt?
Yeah, when I was little, there was a lot of them that I landed flat on my back. I'd come up with bright red back bruises the next day. It's pretty unpleasant.
And this might be a silly question, but I'm good at asking silly questions. Do you do a lot of training outside of a swimming pool?
Yes, about half of our training is done outside the swimming pool. We do dry land, which is, there's dry boards, which are like fake diving boards, I guess, and you do somersaults onto mats, you do trampoline work, a bunch of core exercises, and then we also do gym as well. Yeah.
Nice. So youngest to go to Birmingham, obviously there's the Olympics next year. What's the process there for you? Where are you at with qualification?
So last weekend I qualified for the World Champs this year, which is in Japan, and that's the qualifier for... Yeah, and that's the qualifier for the 2024 Olympics. There is also 2 more chances after that. In December, there's Oceanias, which you have to win to qualify, which is pretty tough. And then there's another World Champs before 2024, which is another qualifier.
Nice. You feeling confident?
Quite honestly, no, because I'm still very young, and I'm probably not at my peak yet in my diving career. So I'm just giving my best shot to see if I can make it to 2024, but if not, the 2028 one will be my main goal, yeah.
You've got 3 or 4 Olympics ahead of you, haven't you? You are still very young.
Yeah, but in diving, it's a very tough sport on your body. It's a lot of impact. You're hitting the water at about 60 kilometres an hour, I think. Ooh. It hurts quite a bit. So you don't see many divers past, late 20s because their bodies just can't take it. Yeah. Yeah,
that is a splat, isn't it? That's a big splat. That's a very big splat.
Yeah.
What makes a good diver?
There's quite a lot that goes into it. You have to be very strong because even though sometimes the divers make it look easy, it's pretty tough trying to fit 3.5 odd somersaults into 3 meters. It's not a lot of time. You also have to have good form, which is something I need to work on a bit more since I came from a rugby and swimming background. I don't have the straightest legs and pointed toes, but it's something I work on every day. Yeah.
A rugby background, so Ian Jones could go into diving at some stage, couldn't he? He's still in great shape. Look at him. Chingos. Jeff Wilson said he bumped into Ian Jones the other day and described him as buff. He's very buffed. Are you feeling a bit buffed, Camo? No? Very tired. We'll get to that soon. And you're hoping to go to the States, to the United States, on a scholarship?
Yes, on a scholarship in August of 2024.
Hawaii University?
That would be pretty nice, but I'm looking to do engineering, so I pretty much looked up a list of the best engineering schools and went from there.
Wonderful. Since you received your AIMS Award, apart from the Com Games, have you been up to much else, and what do you intend to do with the money?
So that money went towards the 2019 Australian and Malaysian Grand Prix. Getting the AIMS Award was like a boost of confidence for me because I haven't been the best at backing myself a lot of the time. So getting the AIMS Award really pushed me to like step up into the senior international level. And I was only 14 going to those, so it was pretty intimidating seeing, you know, Commonwealth divers and Olympic divers. But that's what really took me into that next level of diving. So the AIMS Awards went towards those competitions.
Fantastic. That's what your money does. You see it right here. The youngest person to go to Birmingham with the New Zealand Commonwealth Games team. Please put your hands together again for Maggie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So yes, that is an example of what the North Harbour Club does, what they do so well. I remember the AIMS Award Gala Dinner is the pinnacle event. As Mike said earlier, it is the North Harbour Club's pinnacle event, Saturday the 10th of June, and it's a winter wonderland, and the wonderful Hilary Barry will be there to help you through it. It's now time to invite our first guest up. Let's go with Ian Jones first up. All Black number 902, 79 test matches, 26 matches in it, as I said. 1996, probably one of the, well not probably, definitely one of the greatest All Black teams that has ever been assembled, went away and won that series in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Jones.
Thank you, Jimmy. I will not take much of your time, but Erin thankfully slotted me in for a little 10-minute slot just to inform you, tell you about what I've been up to the last couple of weeks. And just give you a bit of insight into the tour of Northland I've just done. But I do acknowledge everyone here. It's so nice to be back and amongst friends at the North Harbour Club. Moses, amazing performance to get up here on stage. I said to Moses the only other time, it was very emotional hearing Pokata Kariana, right? That's our go-to song when you have to do a waiata when you there, or Tuteri Mana Iwi is the other kind of go-to song. But I don't want to kazump Moses because that was an amazing performance. But the only other time I got emotional like that, Pokata Kariana, we're lucky enough to have Dame Kiri Te Kanawa in our change rooms. Pretoria won test match in 1996, the tour Jimmy's talking about. So, man, you were right up on par with that girl, man. That was awesome. So thank you very much. So, yeah, what have I been up to? I love doing crazy shit, right? And I always say crazy gets shit done. So, for those big picture thinkers in this room, please continue to be big picture thinkers. We need ideas from outside the square. And so what I've been up to the last 16 days, myself and a very good friend of mine, former Commonwealth Games gold medalist, former world champion triathlete, a guy called Rick Wells. Myself and Rick Wells have teamed up with Mike King, and we've just done a 16-day triathlon from Cape Reinga to Wellington. We went touch over 1,800 kilometres, and during that journey, there's our path. It's not a straight linear line, right? Because Mike King don't do straight. I'll give you the tip there. To give some context of why we did this, a couple of years ago, myself and Rick wanted to do something pretty epic, wanted to kind of get ourselves a focus, get ourselves out of the mundane of just training. We wanted to train for something bigger than we'd ever done before. So Rick and I, a couple of the guys, we swam 100 Ks from, people that know how to golf, Great Barrier Island to Takapuna, just for pretty much shits and giggles, really. It was amazing. You were so apprehensive about it. We were kind of, you know, we had to train for it. We're kind of worried about swimming through the night. All these anxieties about what we were going to do. It took us 25 hours. In fact, the night swim became a real highlight for us and something we'll always kind of look back on. Then fast forward a couple of years when we're all kind of told to stay at home and Rick's business was going south a little bit. He wanted something else. And Rick is a very mentally resilient, tough guy. And Rick thought if he was doing it tough, how is everyone else doing it tough? Which is why we teamed up with Mike King. So he rang one day during the lockdown and said, hey man, I want to swim the length of the east coast of the North Island, Cape Reinga to Wellington. That was the question. I said, well, we can't, mate. That's just like, and it's not impossible. Like, everything's doable, but it'll take us a year. That's a stupid idea. So we kind of like all stupid ideas, and we have this yes attitude. That's what I want people in this room to have. Have a yes attitude. Say yes to things, work out the details afterwards. So I said, yep, Rick, something is possible. So we came up with this triathlon. In fact, we had some celebrities. That's Richie Barnett. Richie Barnett's 52 years of age in that photo. I'm 35, looks 65. But we had people come along and help us. But anyway, the reason why we did this was to do something pretty epic. So we, Cape Reinga, stopped 16 towns along the way, Monganui, Russell, Ruakaka, you know, all these kind of small little towns. And Mike King followed us the whole way. And Mike King then just allowed, that's him on that 50cc scooter, following us the whole way with a boombox, I have to say. And I don't know how he did that with a boombox, the phone, doing interviews, doing, you know, texting the whole way. But we had a chance to connect these communities together, and Mike had a chance to talk about Gumboot Friday, I Am Hope, and there is hope out there. And I certainly don't want to go too deep into some of the conversations that we had, but during the 16 days, I had the pleasure of meeting 5 families, 5 parents who had lost kids within the last couple of months. One of them had buried their daughter 2 weeks prior. And before I went into this journey, this challenge, we call it the Hope Challenge, I was led to believe that youth mental health is such a complicated situation. It's too hard, it's too overwhelming to fix. But I had 16 nights hearing the same stories from families who were let down by our system. They weren't allowed into our system. They were told their daughter was a prima donna. They were told their son would grow out of it. They were told they were bad parents. And when I hear those same stories the whole time, and I simplify it down to how do we help these people out through counselling, through direct counselling, looking after our kids, I felt it's not complicated, it is simple. People like yourself in this room who are leaders of your own communities, leaders in your own businesses can change it. But it also reconfirmed to me, because I've had teenage kids myself, I know their friends, it reconfirmed to me that New Zealand has an amazing group of young adults who will change the world. It's not people in this room here who will change the world. You've had your chance. It's our kids. It's our kids like Maggie right here who will absolutely change the world. We have to believe, we have to trust them, we have to listen to them, because this generation of kids I met on the 16 days on the road are so much more empathetic than I ever was at that age. They're so much more knowledgeable than I ever was at that age. They care more than I did at their age, and they know more than I did at their age. So the youth that I met on this trip and the youth that Mike deals with on a daily basis are incredible. We just have to allow them to follow their dreams, and we have to back them 100%. If we back them 100%, give them the confidence to come forward to talk to you, your auntie, your sister, whoever it may be, to seek support if they want support, without stigma, without remorse, without any roadblocks in the way, they will change the world. And New Zealand is an amazing place if we listen to our kids, listen to the next generation coming through, because they are, and what AIMS has done with their youth coming through, are bloody incredible. They will change the world. So we had these 16 days. We were about 10 to 12 hours per day on the road, and then so we were physically tired, but then re-energized every night by meeting the communities, by hearing their stories, by sharing our stories. The more we share our stories with them, the more we get back in return. And just a condensed version for my story, I played professional rugby for quite a long time. I retired when I was 34 years of age. The last 6 months of my professional contract, I was playing in England. I started dreaming of this normal life. No one's going to have to tell me to go to the gym. No one's going to have to tell me what to wear. I'm never going to have to train. I'm just going to have this amazing, normal life. I came back, went to England with, we didn't have any kids, came back with 3. And I tried to live what I thought was this normal life. I friggin' hated it. I got grumpy, clearly at home. I got unfit. I started to get really achy. And I kind of came to the realization after 6 months, well, my normal is not your normal. Your normal is not the person sitting to you next door's normal. My normal for me was routine, was structure, was a goal. And once I started kind of realizing that in my life, I started to get a balance back in my life. And it transformed me and our family and hopefully the 3 kids that we have produced and role model for every day. So that's really what the story I delivered to people. That is, don't chase other people's normal. Be your normal, which is really, really important. Other people in the group share their stories. But when we share and have conversations like this, you open up dialogue. And dialogue, in my opinion, what we've felt over the last 16 days is actually what's going to change things. Have dialogue with your kids. Listen to your kids. Hear what your kids are going to say. But your kids are going to be amazing. Your kids, without question, as I said before, will change the world, will change the mental health of this country. And we really just got to give them that opportunity to be heard, because once more, we live in an amazing, amazing country. We saw some incredible sights on this trip. We did some firsts. I mean, I've been in this country, I lived in this country for 55 years. I lived in the Whangarei Harbour for 55 years. I've never swum across the Whangarei Harbour. I got to do that. It was brutal. We missed the tides by a couple of hours, and it was just like swimming into an uphill river for 2 hours. For those who are swimmers, it was 3 Ks. Like, we were going to do 3 Ks in 40, 45 minutes. It took us 2 hours to swim 2 Ks because of the currents. But we had that kind of resilience because we had the drive, because we knew we were about to hear some stories from families on the other side. So it was a pleasure to be part of. Mike doesn't talk so much in dollar value that we raised, but we managed to raise during the 16 days touch over 3,800 free counselling sessions. So that's like a month's worth of counselling sessions for our young kids, so they can pick up the phone and talk to someone, having that conversation with someone, sharing their story with someone, and having that someone on the other end of the phone, and having everyone in this room know we've got that kids back 100%. We support them 100%. And when we're supported, as everyone in this room knows, when you follow your dream and are allowed to follow your dream, how you will change the world. And that's kind of what I took from it. So we finished a couple of days ago in Wellington, zigzagging across the country with myself and Rick and a couple of others. That's Rick Wells on the left-hand side, and Mike King. And Mike just delivered that message. There is hope out there. Hope is what we've all got. Hope is a wonderful emotion to aspire to. So hope is there. We will change things in this country, but you people here are the leaders. We all follow your direction, so make sure your kids are following the right directions with the actions you take. If your kids aren't talking to you, it's because you're not talking to your kids. They only mimic what you do. So we all have that responsibility. So Aaron, thank you very much for the 10 minutes. I know we've all come to listen to Gilbert, and then me and Gilbert are going to have a Q&A, and that could go anywhere. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you for everyone in this room who did support our Hope Challenge, or do support what Mike King and I Am Hope and Gumboot Friday are doing. And just remember, 100% of any money you give to that foundation goes directly to counselling. You are making a difference. And if we can make a difference, well, then we're living. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian. That's amazing what you've done, mate. Absolutely incredible. Ladies and gents, he is the man who's been involved with a lot of our high-performance teams over the last 30 years, and principally for the last 23 of them with the All Blacks. Please welcome Gilbert Enoka.
Kia rana tātou, Gilbert Enoka tuku ingawa ko Ngāti Rāratonga tuku iwi. It's my privilege to be here with you today inside this wharanui, to feel the spirit of those that you've brought with you from your past and from your own journeys, those that you live with currently. And I'm going to spend 20 minutes where I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey and then just share one common thread that has echoed through the years that I have actually had and experienced. Now, got a bit on the screen, so Jimmy, if your table can't see, you just sort them out, mate, so people can see. So Gilbert Enoka, who is he? My early days were very much like the image you see on the screen. I'm going to move a bit so I can actually see what I'm actually talking to. I can't remember a lot of it. It looks very, very hazy. Enoka is Rarotongan. My father was a cookie. He was born in Raro in Avarua, in Ruatonga, the village in the Cooks. He came over to New Zealand in his 30s, met my mother in Palmerston North. They fell in love, had 6 children in 9 years, so they were very busy people, all boys, and I was the youngest of the litter. And so a busy period of time, and then not too long after I was born, he headed back to the Cooks, back to Raro, as you do, and left the 6 boys to be looked after by my mother. Now, my mother was challenged at birth. She had difficulties and challenges herself, and so she wasn't able to look after us. So myself, along with my other siblings, were placed into an orphanage in Martin, just out of Palmerston North, Tutanui Road. I was 18 months old when I entered into that institution, and we went into that institution with 30 other children from similar backgrounds to myself and ourselves. And you can look at that photo and you can lose yourself in that photo. There's a lot of children that are all together but very alone. You can look at the faces and you can look at the spaces between the faces. I thought that the world was made up of normal people and me. I thought I was different. I thought I was damaged goods, that was the card I was dealt. I was in that institution from the age of 18 months to 12 years old. My brothers were all older than me, so they had a lot shorter periods of time in that institution. At the age of 12 years old, I left it, and don't get me wrong, we were well cared for inside that institution. What we lacked was that nourishing connection, that umbilical love that you get from a parent. And at the age of 12 years old, I left that institution to go and live with my mother in Palmerston North. She'd met a new man. I had all these visions of going to this castle in the cloud. I love Les Mis, I love the musicals and what they actually portray and how they perform. I can still remember leaving the institution, the orphanage, in tears, VW Combi van. Whenever I see one on the road now, it triggers that memory. It's the only security that I knew, so leaving it was very, very challenging. I can remember driving up to from Tutanui Road to Broadway Ave in Palmerston North into my new abode, walking inside, and my brothers had no interest in looking after a younger brother who was trying to adjust to a new reality. My stepfather was an alcoholic, so there were flagons of grog on the breakfast bar and all the dysfunction that's associated with that sort of upbringing and that sort of environment. So at the age of 16 years old, I made the decision if I was going to do anything with my life, I had to get out of there. I don't know how I came to that decision, but I knew that that just needed to happen. So I hopped on a bus, went to Wellington, caught the ferry from Wellington down to Littleton in Christchurch. It's kind of interesting, they had the Sale GP there a month or so ago, and when I was out there watching that, I went to the exact point where I hopped off that ferry and stood there that day in Christchurch with nowhere to go to live, no job, no place to go to. I ended up looking and finding a place to stay. There was a physical education course at College of Education. I love sport. they paid the studentship, which was the equivalent of the dole. So I tapped into that and also had a small part-time job. And then for 3 years, I studied physical education to become a physical education teacher. And then I went to teach at a school, Hill Morton High School, as I shared on my table. It's the only job I've ever applied for in my life at Hill Morton High School. It was a wonderful institution. I can still remember, said to Andrew down on here that the person who was employing me when I applied for the job, rang up the College of Education and said, I've got Gilbert Enoka applying for a job. And she said, the lady at the other end said, don't touch him with a barge pole. I was pretty raw, if you can imagine, a young man at that age. I began and became a teacher there, spent many years there, loved the kids. They were challenged. It was a low decile school. Because I'd missed out on a lot of emotional connections and nourishment from those, you become a very good detective in environments where people are lacking that themselves. And so I thoroughly enjoyed that. And one day I was sitting in the staff room at Hill Morton High School waiting for someone from Canterbury Sports to come and buy some sports equipment from me. And in through the door walked a man by the name of Wayne Smith. He's a current All Black at the time. He was playing All Blacks. I'd started playing volleyball. I got quite good at it. And the reason I got good at it is because people told me I was good at it, and because I liked the feelings that were associated with being told I was good at something, so I kept working harder at it. And all of a sudden I got quite good, went on to represent my country and have the pleasure of that. So Smithy and I started talking, and I started working with him as an All Black when he was an All Black back in those days. And then when he left playing, he took me everywhere he went as a player. And as you can see on the screen, there's two numbers, 625 and 291. 625 is the number of All Black Test matches there have been throughout history. In the last 120 odd years, there's been 625 Test matches, and 291 are the number of Test matches that I've had the pleasure of being involved with this team. It's my 23rd year, and who would have thought that little kid in the orphanage who thought the world was made up of normal people, and him would end up being one of the longest serving members of one of the most successful international sporting teams of all time. Go figure. So that's my context, but what are the lessons? 3 lessons I want to share with you. I'll stand by this little wee truck here because it just sort of, I feel like it. First is to understand that your past does not have to equal your future. I get a lot of people, and I hear a lot of people feeling that because they've gone through certain experiences, that has a determination of what's going to happen to them now in their future. But once you understand that your past does not equal your future, you begin to take control of your life and your circumstances in a much more powerful way. 2, you will never ever rise above the opinion you have of yourself. As I've been through life and experienced it myself, I've found a strong correlation between the opinion I have myself in a certain moment with certain people and success that is achieved. And as you go through life and you look at the people you live with, work with and love with, and you see someone having a lower opinion than you think they should have of themselves, challenge them and encourage them to lift it, because you will never ever rise above the opinion you have of yourself. 3rd lesson, I've learned that choices, not chances, determine your destiny. Through my life, I've had lots and lots of things come at me, but what has determined my destiny has been the choices I make in those moments. And when you understand that the choices you make, not the chances that you get or find yourself in, determine your destiny, you become powerful beyond measure. And so my life, don't get me wrong, you know, that you don't go through a childhood like that without scars and insecurities. I've got a lot of them. And they surface at various stages, but once you understand that you make choices in those moments, you gain a degree of control. And I love the mantra, take control or be controlled. And so that has become important for me. You can't see very clearly on the screen, but you've got a black jersey, an All Black jersey, and you know, walking into that environment is just unbelievable. You know, watching in my early days people like Ian and others play, it was just awe. I love the jersey like that. It's clean. The two things that are important are black. That defines us as a nation, as a country. You know, I hate seeing all these jerseys that are covered with all these advertisements and advertising where it infects the identity. I kind of look at the black and the silver fern on the chest that unites us. The blackness defines us and the silver fern unites us. Hey, Jimmy, very, very powerful. And I love that little screen. I'm not sure where you can see, but there's little men at the bottom of it crawling into that jersey. Ian's one of those. You know, our job's not to get in there. It's not about us. His job was to wear that and honour it. My job is to serve that legacy and ensure that when I pass the baton on, it's in a better state than it was when I took it. Had many experiences. You know, people who have been involved in sport, and you feel moments. You look at that photo and you go, wow. You can just feel the test, the challenge, the exhilaration of that moment when something has just finished and it has been amazing. You look at this one and you tend to, that final moment where you reach the summit, and people share it and express it in lots of different ways. This photo depicts that, wow, you know, listening to the diver talk about the speed, 60 kilometres hitting you know, every day you train, hitting the water. Amazing what these sports people put themselves through. But they put themselves through that for moments like this, where you can look at it and you can look at your brothers and sisters and saying, how cool was that? Money can't buy those sorts of things. The jersey has reached some quite a remarkable summits. You know, winning that first Rugby World Cup in 2011 after 1987 was hugely important to the group. Backing it up again in 2015 was hugely important for the group. You know, incredible to go back to back. And then, you know, to the current generation, the expectation is you continue that legacy. So, you know, the current crew march forward understanding that the summit and reaching the summit is part of the legacy and part of the expectation. The jersey hasn't had all victories. There's a lot of pain. 2007 Rugby World Cup. How many of you were there at that day? Hands go up. And the nation was pretty well, it was a challenging moment. Challenging moment for these two men. You know, and what became quite a pivotal moment was that occurrence, because, you know, I had to look at that myself and say I was part of the problem. Because a lot of the errors that were occurring were in my area where we choked and we couldn't do the job under pressure. And that was part of my responsibility. And so I had to go out, get better advice, come back and present different skill sets to the men in black so that we could conquer what came next. And sort of what came next were some special memories, kind of like those photos. You know, Ted and Richie look younger in that second one than they do in the top one for some particular reason. But, you know, the lessons of 07 nourishing the achievements of 11 and 15, such wonderful things to occur. I kind of put this photo in because it helps us understand this black jersey that Ian's worn, and Jimmy and I have had the pleasure of serving the men and the women on our management that do it. And this is a photo from last year's game against England. And, you know, the jubilation that they had at the end of the match when they drew it, which basically signals the awe and the respect that they have for that particular jersey. And so throughout our journey, throughout my 23 years, the one thing that hasn't changed and that will continue to be a driver is that people who wear it and people have the pleasure of working inside that high performance environment are driven to make the exceptional normal. And when you have an aspiration like that, it becomes humbling to be able to share the journey with men and with women in our management doing that. Now let me share a couple of things that have. Now I've had the pleasure of my journey. I met Faye Freeman here, who was an umpire at Birmingham, and I was with her with the Silver Ferns at the World Cup there. Spent 8 years with the Black Caps with Steve Rickson, Dennis Aberhart, John Bracewell, so I've spent a lot of time in those particular environments, time with the Crusaders and with the All Blacks. The one thing that is common through all those environments is they all have adversity. I've never met anybody in pursuit of anything worth its salt that doesn't experience adversity. It's an equal opportunity employer. No matter what age you are, what sex you are, what religion you are, what status you are, you will experience adversity at some point in your life. And so when we understand that, it's cool. One of my recent gigs of late is being employed by an English Premier League football team, Chelsea. I'm heading over there for 10 days on Sunday. They've just lost 5 in a row. And so it's going to be a cool environment to walk in, too. Probably, in a way, they may be more receptive to something transformational than they would have been if they had been successful. That's me before I left. My old little Lexus, by the way. There's my old dealer from Toyota. That's what they gave me when I got off the airport. Hey, Ian, did you get one of those in your day, mate? It's more suited to you, mate, than it is to me, by the way. I know I can't tell a lie. There was one of the players, I just put my handle on it, made out it was mine, but to do that. So it wasn't really mine in terms of doing that. That's the coach, Graham Potter. We've got a Scotsman, a Spaniard, a German, and a Pom there in the coaching group. And they were all contracted for 5 years and were sacked in 206 days. So all of them are gone. Said to Ian, 2/3 of the coaches in the Premier League, managers in the Premier League have gone this year. Brutal. And so it's sort of kind of interesting to see how we can go in that environment. But everything you go through will have adversity. There won't be anyone here. So once we understand that, it's important. How can we navigate our way through it? 3 things. First, very complex theory, this one. You've got to push through the crap. You've got to push through the criticism. You've got to push through the rejection. You've got to push through those people, and they appear from everywhere, and you've got to push through the prejudice. And great word, that push. All my 23 years of working with elite sports people in rugby and further years, I've never met one individual that doesn't suffer from self-doubt. A lack of confidence. They've just got to learn how to push through it. And when you learn how to push through it, then you begin to achieve milestones and believe that you can take on anything. When you've got adversity, it messes with your attention. And when adversity gets too big, your attention, you tend to get that. You get anxious, you get worried. But it's interesting to know that you only get anxious if your attention's either in the past or the future, thinking about what's happened or what might happen. That will intensify the anxiety you experience. And so what we want to be able to do is to understand that the best way to navigate adversity, to deal with that, is to keep our attention in the present, because that's the only thing that we can control in that moment. So we need you to mind where your mind goes. Now, with the adversity that I've been through with the rugby over the last couple of years, and obviously where I'm going, having a focus of attention in the present isn't enough. You've got to even shorten it. And so what we're aiming to do is to shorten our focus and looking at creating bite-sized chunks. Let's just get through today. Where do we want to be? At the end of the day, and once we get there, we'll take another bite-sized chunk and look to win the moment inside of that at that particular time. And so what are we saying? Adversity exists in all our landscapes. Things can help push through the crap and understand, take time and bite-sized chunks and then just deal with what's inside the one immediately in front of you that will dampen anxiety and enable you to function. I kind of think too in adversity, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Excuse me for turning my back because I'm going to read something to you. And it says, I'm a failure. So don't try to tell me there's so much potential inside me, because at the end of the day, I'll never find a job. I need more experience. I've been out of work too long, and don't try to convince me that there is real value inside of me, because deep down I know I am useless and unemployable, and nothing you say will make me believe I will make it in this world. Pretty dire circumstances for an individual to say those words. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So let's read this thing from the bottom. I will make it in this world, and nothing you say will make me believe I am useless and unemployable, because deep down I know there is real value inside of me, and don't try to convince me that I've been out of work too long, I need more experience, I'll never find a job, because at the end of the day there's so much potential inside of me, so don't try to tell me I'm a failure. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And all of us, especially after what Ian was talking about, will have people who probably need to have that read top to bottom, then bottom to top. So feel free, take a picture and have that conversation. This is Ellis Park. Oh, do you want me to go back? There you go. Sorry about that, I didn't realise that you were so sharp at it all. The sequencing and when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Incredible how perspective can really invite things. Ellis Park, who's been to Ellis Park? Watching a footy there? Hand up, hand up, hand up. If you haven't been there, put it on your bucket list. Best place in the world to watch a test match. Agree, Ian Jones? Too much pain, but boy, she's a cracker of an atmosphere. When we hit South Africa, we'd lost the first test against, first ever test at home against Ireland, lost the series against Ireland, went to South Africa, 2 games on the high veld, lost the first one at Mbombela, 25 or 26-10, then went to their fortress to play South Africa in the second test. Fortunately, we did the business that day and won against the odds of everything. So why am I mentioning that? Because we're talking about adversity now. Here is a guy I admire a lot, played the same position as Ian, Brad Thorne, and he sent a message to the crew before we played that game. And the message that he sent was this. This was to me personally, which I shared with the group. Let them know that despite the noise, many are with them, including me. This is what we're about, the expectations, the pressure, the black jersey. Lean towards it, embrace the challenge. This is what we do. This is what we have always done. No backward step. Everything we've got. How good. Now, how do you think we felt when we read that and saw that? Pretty cool. Now, when people are going through adversity, if I'm going through adversity, please don't say to me, take care. Please don't say to me, keep your chin up. Please don't say to me, stay positive. Those things pull me down more than lift me up. This is just me. You might be different. Say to me things like, embrace the challenge, lean in, no backward steps, everything you got, how good. So the language we use when people are going through adversity have a great impact on how people receive that and the behaviours that they can emanate from it. This became powerful for us, and it's stuck on our wall and is there as a constant reminder that no matter how tough it gets, you can still get the job done, and that became really important. That's a photo in the shed under Ellis Park. I've played and been involved, I should say not played, been involved in 291 All Black Test matches over 23 years, and if I picked my top 5, that would be one of them. At the fortress, backs against the wall, everyone written us off, knives out, throats cut, everything, and yet we were able to rise above it because of the decisions people made, the choices that they made in moments that controlled their destiny. That's me with my grandson, George. This will be my last year with the All Blacks. Beautiful photo, beautiful young boy, isn't he? And George, sorry, I'm only joking. But my job is to pass the baton on to the next generation. It's not about me. I've got to make sure that whenever we put things into the next generation and pass it on, it's in really, really good hands. And I guess so. Back in 2015 and 2011, we won that. What drives me is my quest to make the exceptional normal, and I have a vision of doing that come early November and this year, and I'm driven to do that. And lastly, for me, so what become of this young boy as he went through his experience as well? What he did is actually replaced all those people in his early life, and he put in front of them people from other domains that all became powerful influences in the shaping and the making of him. And so, you know, you look at that photo and you look at that journey and that passage through time, and you basically look at the different people, and it makes us ask questions like, well, who would be in your picture? Do you need to add someone in it? Don't matter whether you're 16 or 89. Cool questions to ask, because it's your choices, not the chances, that determine your destiny. So that's all for me. Hopefully I didn't go over time and steal any of the questions, but thank you for allowing me to share a couple of my journey and stories with you. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Imagine getting one of those speeches before an All Black Test match. Boy, you'd run through a brick wall. Someone who did run through a couple of brick walls with the All Blacks is Ian James. We'll get him back up if we can. We'll just have a bit of a Q&A, and then we will take a few questions from the floor, and we'll give you a CD if you ask a good question. I think Moses is going to sign them. I've got one here, mate. Good, thank you. Every time I see Graham Henry, I think of the times that Wyn Gray and I used to ring him during press conferences to see if he'd answer his phone. It's a very juvenile and sort of schoolboyish thing to do, but press conferences can be very boring. So we'd sit at the back of the press conference and we'd ring Graham. One time he was naming an All Blacks team and his phone rang and he said, "Oh, that's Raywin. She's not happy with who I picked at first five." It wasn't Raywin, it was Wyn Gray. But there you go. Kamo, you see a speech like that, I want to ask you this question, because obviously you were in the All Blacks for a long time. All Blacks come and go, but some stick. Some play 79 test matches like you, some play 130 odd, 140 odd. What is the characteristic? What is it? Is there a commonality for those who stick?
Good question. For me, I think it's goal setting is pretty important. I've had a lot of wonderful mates who become All Blacks who achieve their goal of becoming an All Black, which is tough to achieve, wonderful for the family to achieve that, but then they don't reset their goal to stay within the All Black team. So goal setting to me is very, very important. Achieving a goal is really important. Celebrating a goal is equally as important. But I think the fourth thing for me is to reset the goal. So for me to play for the All Blacks was incredible. I went on a tour in '89, didn't play a test match. Wanted to play a test match, got a chance the following year in 1990. But then I wanted to play multiple test matches, and then I wanted to play 50 test matches, and I just kept resetting the goals. And as I said, there's far more talented rugby players who achieved their goal of becoming All Black, didn't reset their goal. And I think, to me anyway, Jimmy, that was the difference.
Gilbert, you worked with some of the very best All Blacks. I think back to that 2015 final when you saw Woodcock, Mialamu, a bloke called McCaw, another one called Carter, Nonu Smith, they all retired after that. How do those guys stay the best in the world? Because when you've been at the top of the mountain, how do you stay at the top of the mountain?
Yeah, a little bit linked to what Ian's talking about really is we have a pretty simple mantra inside the environment. It's just as applicable in business as it is in sport, is that the one requirement, if someone asks us how do we get better, is everyone must have a next level. So we understand where we're at. Each of you in the room have roles in the businesses or the lives that you live, and you just ask yourself the question, what's a word or a phrase that would describe where I'm at this point in what I do? And then the second question is, what does the next level look like? And so everyone must have a next level, and there must be a gap between where you are now and what that next level is. So people like Richie and Kevy and Ma'a and all those people had a next level, and the next level needed to create discomfort, because comfort ages you, and if you don't have discomfort, then you won't put the effort and energy into the work that needs to be done. So have a gap, create the gap, bridge the gap, create the gap, bridge the gap, create the gap, bridge the gap. Not complicated.
I will make the point, you don't have to be very talented to represent New Zealand at sport. You have to be very driven. Skills can be taught. So application, drive, commitment, all of those things, I think. Okay, occasionally you're going to get a Dan Carr, a Kieran Reid of the world who are extraordinary sports people and very, very committed and driven athletes. They became the superstars that we see. But honestly, to me, and it's no doubt the same in business, skills can be taught. Application, drive, the desire can't be taught, or can be, but you know, it's nice to have that. So man, you just got to look at me. Hell, if I can become an All Black, anyone can become an All Black if you got the drive. I mean, I am just a living example. I mean, I shake my head myself that I had 11 years with that team. Talent, application, to me, commitment and application will always overcome talent.
There was something in the water in your street though, wasn't there? Fisher Terrace and Whangarei produced an incredible amount of elite athletes.
Yeah, I grew up in just a very typical new subdivision in Whangarei, Kamo. In fact, a place called Fisher Terrace. My mother was a nurse, so she was a pretty high demanding lady. My neighbour on the left-hand side was a guy called Blythe Tate. Blythe Tate, former world equestrian champion, Olympic champion. He moved away at the age of 12 when he got into equestrian, but remained firm friends with Blythe and their family ever since. My neighbour on the right-hand side was a guy called Brian Maunsell. Brian Maunsell was a former New Zealand hockey rep, New Zealand coach, but more importantly, Brian Maunsell was the first fitness trainer that came into New Zealand sport in 1976 when they won a gold at the Olympics. So he was a neighbour there. My opposite the road, on the just two down, was a guy called Brian Young. Brian Young, former New Zealand black cap batsman, scored a double ton in Lancaster Park actually, wicket keeper, first slipper. And a lady you wouldn't know, Angela Brackenbridge, played 10 years New Zealand table tennis. So we were kind of all around a similar age. There was a doctor, Dr. Bindon, at the top of the street, which would stitch us up and push us back out there. As I said, my mother had no bedside manners as a nurse, ruthless in the upbringing. So yeah, that was our little street in Kamo, Fisher Terrace.
Produced a few good athletes, didn't it? Gilbert, it was interesting. I had a chat to, I publish a magazine called New Zealand Rugby World. You can buy it. It's on shelves now, $15. I had a chat to Brodie Retallick for the magazine, and he is going to Japan after the World Cup this year. And I said to him, what are you going to do after Japan? And he said, I'm going to play a year for Hawke's Bay. And I said, oh, that's nice, mate. You're going to give back to the community. He said, no. He said, I need to wean myself off being competitive every minute of every day of my life. And if I don't do that, I'm not going to be a very good person. What is it? How do you prepare these guys, Gilbert, for life after elite sport?
Very difficultly. I think we all say we can see the finish line, we can see the horizon, but you don't really know how you're going to feel until you get to it. some of the most together people I know, the shortest period of time that I've seen an All Black adjust is probably 2 years. So it relates a little bit to Ian's question. So, and I'll answer that in a roundabout way, Jim. So if you drew a triangle, and on that triangle you put the three components that really impact performance. So you've got your mindset, attitude, drive, skill set, all those things, and your structure down here is how you organise things. And quite often if things aren't going well, it's either a mindset issue, a skill set issue, or a structure issue. And I quite often ask people, one of those is a superpower, and when it's understood, it creates power beyond measure. Raise your hand if you think skill set's a superpower. All right, he's got one there. Raise your hand if you think mindset's a superpower. Look around the room. Okay, most of the hand. Raise your hand if you think structure's a superpower. Beautiful. My colleague on my right, Jimmy's got his hand up. I've found that throughout my time, structure is the superpower. We get people coming into the All Blacks that want to be there for 11 years, 100 tests, and they just want to be there forever, and skill sets, they can do wonderful things, but where things break down is because they can't organise their time, they can't put systems in place to deal with their nutrition, their analysis, their media, and it's the structure piece that falls down. I can remember working with a young halfback that said, "That's bullshit, Bert." He said to me, when I'm on the field and the referee says, gives a decision that's wrong, he says, "So mine said I've got to shift that." I said, "How's that going?" And he said, "Not very good." And so I said, "What about if the referee makes a call you don't agree with? So you then deliberately walk 3 paces away, talk to the first person you see and the next person. What do you see? What do you see? Take a breath, then comes back." And he says, "I'll try it." So he goes and does it in the game. He says it's gone from 11 out of 10 to 6 out of 10. What have we given him? Structure. So once you understand that structure is a superpower, you'll conquer anything.
Ian, you talked about when you retired and what got you motivated again. You're a phenomenal long-distance athlete now. You've turned yourself into one of those. How do you stay motivated when it's not a direct competition? Because, in the All Blacks, it's a direct competition. You've got to make the team, you've got to win in that team. But you don't have that level of motivation, that really plain motivation now. So what motivates you?
The people I train with. I love a time and a place. I love a commitment of turning up to train or run or swim or bike, whatever, with a group of people, group of like-minded people. So we all want communities, we all want connection, and that's kind of what I get from doing endurance sports. People often ask me, "Man, you must be as fit now as you ever were playing for the All Blacks." And I've always said, no, 100% not, because when you're playing for the All Blacks, every day there's a consequence. If I don't want to go to training, playing for the All Blacks, there's a consequence. When you're just an age group athlete and very aging age group athlete like me, and it's raining outside, I can't be asked going out to train, there is no consequence. It doesn't matter. So always fitter playing for the All Blacks. But also how you prioritise your life, Jimmy. We talk a lot, for me anyway, I talked a lot about goal setting, but for me it's all about balance, right? And I put family, work, clearly community, and fitness as my priorities. So that's really important to me. I link every day my physical health with my mental health. I am a different person if I'm not out there doing some form of exercise. So that's really important to me and my family. And that's what kind of motivates me to make sure those buckets that we talk about are full. When they're out of kilter, life's not good. But when they're full, happy days.
You played with some great All Blacks. Who was the most annoyingly competitive person that you played with?
Well, it's always a worry when you have to think about that, because then you go, "Far, it might have been me." And everyone talks about Zinzan Brook, very, very competitive guy. Cards or you drop goals, you're there till you're not, and the poor guy has to come outside and put the lights on so then he can win. Shawnee was very competitive, just a driven, great professional. New Zealand was really lucky to have Sean Fitzpatrick as the captain at the time when the game went professional, because well, he was professional. But to me, professionalism is about, it's not getting about the money, right? It's got an attitude, and Shawnee had that professional attitude right from day one. So Sean would be up there for sure. But Jimmy, to be honest, you could list everyone I played with, and they're all competitive. They're all annoying at different levels, no question about that. But that's what kind of drives you, you know, when you have those people all competitive, going for that same goal, that same target, driving towards that same goal line, man, gold can happen. And it's nice to be in that environment, really nice.
Similar for you, Gilbert. I remember Brad Thorne, when he would come into press conferences, he delighted in opening by revealing that Richie McCaw was once again useless in the gym. He'd say he could run me into the ground, but he can't lift weights. And then McCaw would admit that was right. I mean, those two, they sparred a lot around that sort of thing. Who were the guys over your time who used to like to wind someone up a little bit about, you know, I'm a bit better than you at this? Because these are the best in the world. So who was doing that?
Hey, there's an old adage, isn't it? If you turn up to a fight and it's a fair fight, then you haven't planned properly. And so I'd answer Ian's question. Every single one of them are competitive. You know, they just want to beat their mate, and the bragging rights from that are unbelievably infectious, and they're driven to do anything they can to do it. You know, poor old Nick Gilly, our trainer, whenever he has competitions and games, he's trying to quell all the questions coming out. So I can't pick anybody, or that they are every single one of them. So you've got to plan really carefully, so it's never fair.
Conrad Smith was a big complainer about Nick Gill's refereeing of those games, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He wasn't the only one, though. But Gilly does it well, you know, even there's a lot of noise, you just talk louder.
Yes, absolutely. Look, we are almost out of time, but we will take a couple of questions. I'm sure there are some in here who would like to ask these guys something. Don't be shy. There's one of Moses' CDs to go. I've asked a lot of questions, Moses, so do I get a signed copy? Yeah. Yes. Just shout, it's all right, I'll relay it. Oh.
I've heard somebody say that Kevin Mialamu was the most complete athlete in the All Blacks scheme. Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, look, people often ask me in my 23 years, who's your best player that you've worked with, the most talented? Kevin Mialamu wins the category for being the best man. Like, what determines the question Jim asked Ian about people that stay there? It's people that get to understand themselves and can be authentic, be their authentic selves. And, you know, even just last year, I heard one of our leaders say, I came into this team a boy and it's to help me become a man. So Kevin Mialamu was always selfless. His character was unbelievably giving to others around him. He commanded respect. I remember one day saying, going to the back of the bus, Kevy, the Bledisloe Cup was a bit dirty. Can you get a couple of the young boys to give it a clean, because it's important? And he just came up to me, put his arm on my shoulder and says, I'll do it with them, Bert. And that was just the nature of the man. You wouldn't get a finer person than him to exalt the qualities of what a great All Black was.
We've also talked about drive. I'll tell you a little story. In 2007, Genos like to make up lists all the time because we get quite bored when we're away. And we were making up a list at that World Cup, and Jerry Collins, who I got on very well with, came over and said, what are you doing? We said, well, we're making a list of who in the All Blacks would win a cage fight. If we put all of you in there, Ultimate Warrior, who would win at the end? And he said, who have you come up with? And I said, you and Chris Masoi. And he shook his head and he said, you're completely wrong, mate, as always. I said, why? He said, the guy who'd win a cage fight with all of us in there is Kevin Mialamu. And I said, you are kidding, he's the nicest man in the world. He said, yeah, but he's the most determined. And he would never stop until he was the last one standing. I won't get in a fight with him. Anyone else got a question? Yes, over where? Oh, down there in the white.
Oh, hey, no one's immune to pressure. You know, no human being that lives on this planet's immune to pressure, so the coaches probably get it as much, if not more, than the players, because when the team goes well, players are lauded, and not a lot goes to the coaches. When things go bad, everything goes to the coaches. So we've learned that vulnerable is the new strong. So we've encouraged men, and it's been difficult for men more than women, because they quite often share the way they feel more openly and honestly, and we've learnt from that. So we've been deliberate to set up structures that enable people to share how they are and how they feel, no judgment, but that then just allows us to take a bite-sized chunk, get control of that moment before we take another bite-sized chunk and get that moment. So the work with them is certainly a tentacle of the octopus is directed to that, as well as the players.
Hey, just very quickly while we're on coaches, can you guys help us out? When people start talking about 2024 and this amazing coaching team the All Blacks have got, can you please shut it down? Because we got 2023, we've got a big, big golden season going ahead. And Fozzie and all those guys 100% need our backing. When 24 comes around, well, then we'll give them 100%. But at the moment, it's all about this year, and they got a friggin' good chance of going, because the expectation is not on these guys. They have the ability to shut down some of these so-called favourites to win the World Cup. When we shut down their strengths, then the All Blacks will be in a prime position, so don't count out the men in black.
Absolutely. One more question, we've got one more. Yes, over there, your hand went up, that was great, I like that. Gee whiz. So just in case you didn't hear, Gilbert talked about looking at the horizon, and she's asked him what's on the horizon for him.
Yeah, good question. It's something I've pondered a while ago, for quite a while. You know, I don't want to work as hard as I am in the current role that I'm in, which is full-time commitment for a long period of time that I'm away, but I still want stimulation and I want to feed a purpose. The reason I think I've been born on this earth is to add value to people through inspiration and by example. So I want to keep doing that till the day I die. I promised, or we made a commitment, Martin Nonu and I, back when he was in the All Blacks, that when our time came, we'd make a movie together. So you'd never put him and I together in that way, would you? But and we will. So that's been tickling away in the back of my mind. I've had some thoughts in and around the mental health area that ends in. I just think it's shockingly structured currently in this country, and whether I can do a little bit of work in that space. And then I'll look to, I'd like to make a transformational change over in the EPL actually too. You know, because they are hurting a lot of people because of the way that sport is structured. And so I'll probably get pulled back into the web, but I don't want to do that. So they're the things that are percolating, and I've got a grandchild and I want to be a good granddad, and that's probably right up there as well.
We've got one more question. Where was it? Down here? Yes.
Actually, I had three questions, but one is a little statement. I remember Gilbert because I used to play in the Rongotai College Old Boys volleyball team, and I'm pretty sure I remember Gilbert as. Were you a setter, setting up the ball?
Yeah, you're thinking of my brother Roger, probably. If you were you were at Rongotai College, did you say?
Yeah. No, sorry, right. I don't remember. Was your younger brother? Was it?
He's my older brother.
Well, your older brother.
Oldest brother.
Mate, this question's going really well.
You go.
Yeah.
Hey, that's two. You got one more, mate.
Ignoring all that, I know you've got a connection with volleyball anyway. So, but when you go to England, I'm a big Liverpool supporter, and I'm just wondering why is it for their probably, I think they've got 45 major trophies, and they're the most successful, probably one of the most successful, or if not the most successful English football club in history, but they've only won one Premier League in 30 years. If you were to go there, let's set aside Chelsea, because they're not really going to win anything probably. If you were going to go to Liverpool, what would you try and do to change them? Because they come across as being a winningest football club, but they've only won one Premier League.
hey, look, it's, you know, it'd be arrogant for me to say I could go over there and do that. All I'll do is listen. When you listen, you then begin to understand things that you can move. I've seen a bit over there, and you know, the challenge I'll put to people, I just know that certain cultures can create dynasties and can create legacies, and the best predictor of future performance is past success in the same context. So, you know, success leaves clues, and this All Black team that Ian has played in and we've been involved with in Crusaders environments, and you know, when DJ Graham was running the manager of New Zealand cricket, and I came in for 8 years with him, we just ran it like a rugby team. We just got them playing for each other, doing things for each other. We had what we called 10+1. Do 10 things for yourself to be a professional athlete and 1 thing for somebody else. That moved the culture. I think Liverpool probably could have a 10+2. And I'm only joking, mate. Go. Listen would be the big thing first.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We are out of time, I'm very sorry. But please, he took himself down a little bit, but Ian Jones was one of our greatest All Black locks. Gilbert Enoka has made a huge contribution to a lot of New Zealand teams, including the All Blacks. Please, a warm round of applause. Bert has also brought along an All Blacks jersey that is going to be auctioned off. And going here in the silent auction will be the cheapest barbecue possible unless someone gets in behind it. Don't make me bid for it because I will. So there is a barbecue there in the silent auction as well. We are going to start the live auction. Please welcome from Harcourt's Cooper & Co, Andrew North.
Thanks, Jim.
Do you need help with spotting or anything?
Oh. Okay. I know you've all been waiting very patiently for this moment. Some of you might have been thinking to yourselves, crikey, the calibre of the speakers, the information, the advice that we've received, how do we pay for it? I'll give you an opportunity in a moment to pay for it, right? If any of you have come along as invited guests and you're sitting on the table thinking to yourself, why have I been invited today? This is why you've been invited. To contribute, obviously, right now. We've only got 3 items up for your buying consideration and deliberation. As I said, the third item that wasn't on the list has been kindly donated by Gilbert Enoka, and of course James Iverson as part of the All Black management team being involved in that. It is a signed 2022 All Black team jersey with that insight that they're going to win the World Cup. This sounds like a significant investment moving forward, but we'll get to that in a moment's time. So 3 items, ladies and gentlemen. First one, and of course we're raising money for the children. We saw Maggie up here before, so we appreciate your support in advance. First up, we've got the Waitemata Lexus Golf Package. 4-ball, 18 holes at Waitemata Golf Club with 2 carts. Dinner and drinks are included. Meal and a $100 bar tab. There's 5 hours worth of golf 5-hour lesson package, so I'm assuming that's 5 hours that you don't have to do all at the same time. The Pro Shop fit out, we've got the Titleist cap, the FootJoy polo, FootJoy pants and / shorts, whatever you prefer. If you've got good legs, you go for the shorts, otherwise you go for the pants. So ladies and gentlemen, we're covering, of course, Lexus giving you a vehicle for the weekend. That value, I reckon it's worth a whole lot more, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, who'd like to start me away with a starting bidder offer, knowing that the first item's usually the cheapest? Does somebody get me away at $200 to start me away now? At 200 here, at 400, did I see anywhere there? At 4 the bid now, at 400, take me straight to 600 now. At 600, thank you, sir. At 600, we go to 8 now. At $800 a bid, your turn, sir, and 1 bid seldom buys. $1,000 next, and I tell you what, the whole team's saying yes. Do we go to $1,000? 1,000, thank you, Richard. At 1,000 now. At $1,000, we sell it away. I'll take $100. It's for the 1,100 now. At 1,100, and I'll do the same for you. 12 now. She got there. Now you're 13. At 13, 13 and 14 is it now? What do you mean you're saying no to me? At 4, are you sure? You sure? You sure? Looking for $1,400. 14 here. 14 now. Now we go to 15. 15. I'll come with you, Richard. Or I won't. If you'd prefer. $1,400 here. 1,500 now. Boys saying yes. Come on. Father-son time. Take some clients. And a half, 14 and a half. Hey, big spender. Yeah, come on, me and Moses. All right, 14 and a half the bid now. At $1,400, $500 the bid there. Who rounds me to 1,500 now? 15 she does. 15 and a half. Is it 16? 16 it is. Now we go to 16 and a half, or do we up it a bit? It's 16 and a half. Richard, the better looking person doesn't always have to win. It's $1,600. I sell it here, not there. Unfold the arms. It hasn't been that bad a year. It's been great, right? We do it? We're not. You sure? I'm not really coming with you. Take it in, breath, smile a bit. Richard Milne, Premium Real Estate. I'm giving you a plug. Right? I'm from Harcourts. Yeah, 1,600, good. It's 1,600 now. It's $1,600. We sell it away. Richard from Premium, great guy, great agent, winning at the moment. I'm selling it to him. It goes, it goes. Oh, okay, so Richard's 17 then, all right? Oh, what are you then? This is why you go with Premium. 18, no, you're back with Harcourts at 1,800 now, at 1,800 now. Are we going to 19 or 2,000, Richard? Does Harcourts win? Huh? Huh? Harcourts wins, we're going at $1,800, selling it, you sure? Oh, he sells houses, yeah, and he's a great guy, Thank you for being such a good sport. Sold to you, ma'am, with Harcourts. Okay. But Richard, I'm giving you another opportunity. We've got the Lexus kids right on LX car and the Zuru toy package included. So there's toys in the car. And if any of you are out there thinking, gosh, the quality of our Kiwi young drivers is not good, that is because they did not get given one of these early on in their lives. All right? It is an absolute cracker. Any grandparents in the room, if you want to be grandparents of the year, it is just great fun. Rightio. What do we go? Who wants to start me away? Opening bidder offer? $500? Thank you, sir, at $500 now, and off we go at $500 now. At $500 now, who takes me to $750 now? $750, looking for $250 improvement on the rise. $750, thank you now, sir. At $750, straight to $1,000, and you can't buy this is just great buying. At $1,000, at $1,000 now, thank you now, $1,000 there. On your nod, Aaron there. At $1,000 at 12, there you got your sir, $1,250 now. At $1,250 there, winning bid, who goes to $1,500 now? $1,500, thank you, sir. Your turn, sir. 17, thank you now. At 17 and a half we've got. Do we go to 2,000, sir? Don't think, just bid. Smile. Good. 2,000 now. At $2,000 winning bid down the centre of the room. 2,250. 2.5 is it, sir? At 2.5, stay with me now. You're doing a great job. You look like you're used to winning. I'd love to help you do it again. 2.5, do we start? You're smiling. Suggest, there we go at 2.5 now. 2.7.5, 2.7.5. He's tough to shake. He will stop eventually. At 2.7.5, we just need to keep going. 3 is it, sir? $3,000 with me now. Otherwise at $2,750, I'm selling away. Sir, you started it. That's only half the job. We need to finish it. Huh? Then at $2,750, I sell it away for whatever bit of it goes. You sure? Sold to you, sir. Congratulations. Well bid, well bought. Jim, do you want to hold up the jersey, please? What size is it?
Yeah. Too small.
For you? Yeah. Rightio, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, kindly donated by Gilbert Enoka, and what a wonderful presentation that he gave us. Adversity does not discriminate. All right, I love that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, of course, James Iverson, part of the All Black management team involved in the donation of this, signed by the 2022 team. And by crikey, if they do win, this is worth a whole lot of money, right? You just put this on Trade Me straight away. Or you frame it and you keep it forever. Who's got me $500 to start away? $500 straight away. We're going 500. Who takes me to 1,000 now? Jim, what do these usually sell for? About $20,000? $500 there, winning bid it now. At $500 now, who takes me to 1,000 or more? Otherwise, I'm selling. There's no reserve price. Want to be crystal clear about this. At $500, it will sell. First time now at $500, 1,000, thank you ma'am now. At $1,000 now, who takes me to $1,500 now? At $1,500, and this is an absolute bargain. As I said, you put it on Trade Me, you make a profit straight away. At $1,000 now, I sell it at $1,000. First time. Second time. $1,200, thank you sir. At $1,200 now, I take it from him at $1,200, ma'am. Go and show it to her, Jim. Put it on for her. It's tight so they can't tackle you. At $1,200. At $1,200. Huh? What have we got? At $1,200, I am selling it away. It is as simple. I'll take another $200 to move me forward. And this is now when you think about the, thank you ma'am, at $1,400 now. At 14, and was that 16? 16, thank you sir, it's 16 now. At 16 now, it's your turn at 18. At 18, you said no to me before. I know I look accustomed to rejection, I still take it reasonably personally. At $1,600, gentleman holds the bid. At 16 now. At 16, this is the gift you give to someone that you just don't know ever what to buy. At $1,600, is it 18 now? At 18, anyone got anyone in that predicament situation now? At $1,600, we sell. First time at $1,600. Second time, the children. I believe they are the future. Teach them well, let them lead the way, make them all the beauty they something. I saw that Whitney Houston movie the other night. So $1,600, we sell. I'll take $100. 17. 17 now, the bid, and 18 straight away. At 18, he takes it back off you, ma'am. At $1,800 now. Ma'am, $1,800, there he is. He's at the back. Have a look at him now. Go straight to $2,000. Do we go there, $2,000? At $1,800, I sell it to him, though. First time at $1,800. 19, okay, and $2,000, he responds accordingly, giving you confidence, I would have thought. At $2,000, you know you're not overpaying when you're in second place. At $2,000 there, do we say 2-1? I'm happy to wait, ma'am. This is my last one. At $2,000, we're discussing it. What are we doing? Tell me what to do, I'm used to it. At $2,000, you sure, ma'am? Okay, you don't want to tell me what to do. I'm grateful. At $2,000, I sell it at the rear for the first on table 33. Second, you sure? Third, final call. Don't want you waking up tomorrow morning saying, why didn't that middle-aged auctioneer push me just a little harder? No? Sometimes that worked. Okay, at $2,000, it is going, it is sold to you, sir. Congratulations, well bid, well bought, and I thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Back to you, Jim. Oh, I've taken all your notes, Jim.
You don't take my notes.
No, take your notes.
You've taken all my notes.
I've taken all your notes, yeah.
You've got to hang around because we've got to do the raffle. Excuse me, Mr. North. Hey, come back. You've got to do the raffle. And you've taken half my notes. Look, I even numbered them. It's like doing a school project again, you know?
On track?
No, we just need to do the raffle. If you could draw one out, please. This one will be for the Karen Walker bag. The Karen Walker bag right here looks very beautiful. Valued at over $400. Donated by Lexus of North Shore. It is number 12642.
Just let me check my numbers, Jim.
12642, which, there we go. Well done. You have a winner. Redraw. This next one is for the Milford restaurant voucher valued at $500. Pull one out and let's see what we can do there. This is for the Milford restaurant voucher and it is ticket number 15600. 15600.
Another one?
No, that's all. Thank you, mate. We're all done. I think we've only got the two. We've only got the two.
I was always curious to see who would have won next.
Oh, that's just cruel and unusual. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have another round of applause for Ian, for Andrew, and for Gilbert, and for Maggie, who's still here as well. Silent auction, who's going home with the barbecue? Lloyd? Yeah. Lloyd. Lloyd, well done, Lloyd. Well done. If we can just take one moment, events like this are not possible without sponsors. We all know that. So again, thank you very much to EuroVintage Wines, to Intersea, to Benefits, Auckland Conventions, my MC sponsor, Oceanbridge, thank you. And of course, a huge round of applause for our lunch sponsor, Bob and Mark Jago, and the event sponsorship team at Lexus North Shore. Remember, you can test drive one of those RXs. If you don't know how to do it here, go to the shop. And a reminder that the next Lexus of North Shore charity luncheon will be held on the 27th of October. Same time, same place. Very easy to be back here. Dr. Michelle Dickinson and David Downs will be your guest speakers. Soon to be a sellout, so please get your tickets. We also obviously hope to see you at the Ames Awards on June 10 at the Bruce Mason Theatre to celebrate our wonderful winners of the Ames Awards 2023 program. That's where we give away the money that you lot have given us tonight, so thank you so much for that. Today isn't over just yet. Remember, this is the long lunch. So if you don't have to go back to work, sign off on pesky things like payrolls and that sort of stuff, stick around. The bar will be open until 3:30. Moses has a few CDs that he's selling out the back of his car, $25 a pop. I'm sure he'll sign them for you. He's also on Spotify. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.